All right, now what we are going to do is go over our Blue Plump Structured Manicure application. Now, I have already done the prep that we have watched previously because it is the same. The next step I need to do is just remove all of my nail dust, so that's what I'm going to do now with alcohol. All right, so we have cleansed our nail. Our next step is going to be using our Bond-It. Again, we don't want to get this on the client's skin, but we want to make sure proper adhesion. Now, we want to use Bond-It over primer because primer is going to be acid-based, and yes, it is a nail dehydrator, but it is much more aggressive than our Bond-It, and we don't need that because we're not applying acrylics or a gel hybrid product like Tammy Taylor's Sculpt. And so keeping that in mind, we're just going to use Bond-It today. All right. Now, again, same thing with our white clump application. We do not need a base coat because our plump is going to act as our base coat, and so that's how we're going to use it. So depending on how full the bottle is, we want to make sure that we're wiping about 2/3 of the way down. That way we get plenty of product on our brush, but it's not going to overload the nail and make it so that it is too full and it floods the nail. Okay, so just like with our base coat of our white plump, we're going to do a nice thin layer of our blue plump. I'm going to do 5 nails, cure, and then repeat on the other hand of my guest. Making sure that we're doing nice thin layers so that it makes our application a lot easier. And now we're going for a more structured approach. So remember that we want our product to flow where we put it. So your base coat is going to determine where your product flows because that's where you lay it first. Okay, so keep that in mind when you are applying that first layer of our blue plump. Once we have finished all 5 nails of this dolly hand, I'm going to cure this for 1 minute and start our structured manicure. All right, now that I have my base layer done, that's going to create some strength. Now, what I need to do is, this is where I like to start going back and forth between hands. It makes it more efficient. That way you don't have to wait for this one to cure while you're working on the other hand. It makes the time go by a lot faster. I like to start on either my thumb or my pinky. If I'm going to start on my thumb, I want to make sure that my guest's hand is nice and flat first. Just because if it's tilted to the side, sometimes it creates drip right here, and it creates a unnecessary problem that you'll have to file off later. So I personally like to do these ones first and then the thumbs last, but you could tomato. All right, so I'm gonna come in and I want to angle my guest's hand, like their finger, a little bit down. I want gravity working on my side and this product working for me. So what I'm gonna do is apply a slip layer. Now this slip layer doesn't have to be super thick, and most of the strength of our sidewall is going to come from our slip layer as well as that first layer that you already put on. We've already created most of the structure of our natural nail with that being said. Now, I want to get a little ball, just like if I'm working with acrylics. I'm going to focus all of this in the middle. And I'm gonna do like a little Christmas tree action in here and just go back and forth within that nail. Again, we've already created most of our strength in our side walls. Then I can flip so once I've gone all the way to the end of the nail, I can flip my guest's hand over and check from the side. That way it's naturally creating an apex. That gravity is working for me. It makes it so that it's a lot easier. I can turn it back over and then I can see, yep, her structure looks great. It's really nice. There's a nice apex right in there, and I can go ahead and cure this and then swap hands and do the same thing on the other hand. I will show you one more time. All right, this is done curing. So let's move on to our next nail. Again, we're gonna put a slip layer on there so that we're adding one, a little bit more strength, but two, to help glide that product on there. Perfect, so I'm gonna come back in, and again, I'm going to angle my guest's finger towards me, like towards the table, and I'm going to put a bead of product. Now, we wanna make sure our bead of product is not all the way at that cuticle, because that way you do not flood their nail too much, because we don't want to flood their nail. Perfect, and then you're able to cap the end of that. And then I'm going to turn my guest's hand over so that we can check the structure that we just did. Let it sit. Check from both sides of the nail just to check structure, and then I'm going to turn it over. It's looking great, so I'm going to cure. We're going to do all 10 nails that way. Again, what I like to do is alternate hands. That way I'm always working and I'm continuing to work, because technically it should take about, I would say, 15-20 minutes to do like a full structured set like this, just because it's a little easier doing it on someone else than yourself, and you're able to be continually working and whatnot. All right, I have completed all 10 nails, or 5 nails in this case. And so what I'm going to do is now polish and top coat and apply cuticle oil as normal per our service.